Greetings, Zimbabwe. Welcome to the program Power Talk. My name is Sean Moyo. Today on the program we host engineer Elias Mudzuri. I'm not sure if I should say the former or the current vice president of the MDCT. The current meaning that due to the court victory that he had on the 28th of February, which reinstated his position because it nullified the MDC 2022 Congress. Engineer Mudzuri, welcome to the program.
Thank you, viewers.
Right, getting straight into it, engineer, tell us a bit about what this judgment means to you as the applicant and to the MDC as a party, as well as to opposition in general.
This judgment is, I would say, it vindicates the thinking of the public, not the thinking, the obvious. In 2002, the Congress which was done by Mwonzora, we had a serious dispute before it was done, that we did not involve structures, to the extent that some provinces protested. They even made a press conference before that Congress. He was pushing just to do something that was called a Congress by name, but he never followed the Constitution. There were no structures. There were no Women's Congress. There was no Youth Congress. Nothing really transpired. He only went there for 2 hours and went away. And you know, normal Congresses, it's not just also giving each other positions. You make resolutions. You review what you have done in the past, and you pass resolutions for the next 5 years.
Right.
Nothing transpired to that extent. So the court was only a place where we went for arbitration to say this man is refusing to follow the Constitution. When he's refusing to follow the Constitution, what do we do? He even says, I will fire you if you don't do what I want to do. I want to appoint people. The Constitution doesn't allow him to do that. So when this thing came, it only spelled one thing. The Constitution is very clear. When a president fails to uphold the Constitution, then he is no longer the president, because he cannot continue to violate the Constitution. So far we have lost 2 years and a half. But before that we had lost many more years, about 1.5 years. He has not followed it because even that Congress was supposed to be done in 2021.
Right.
But we had passed the time. He's a guy who does what he wants, and he wants to manipulate what he calls counsel. So to me, the court did what should be done to confirm what was on the ground. Because we cannot judge ourselves, we cannot be complainants and the judge as well.
Right.
But the public, Zimbabweans know there was no Congress. I don't think there's anyone who says there was a Congress in 2022. If you say so, then I don't know.
So, in light of this judgment, what's Advocate Mwonzora's position in the party? Because he's been president for all along. And so does he lose his position or he keeps his position, and are you reverting to being the vice president of the party?
Yes, I actually we don't have local stand anymore, almost everyone. But because I went to court as his vice to say this man has breached, I have taken it upon myself to say, let me manage this so that people rebuild the party. The party is not there anymore. Tell me where you can see a structure. There's no structure. I was out of the party for 2 years. He threw me out of parliament.
You were recalled?
I was recalled out of parliament because I protested that this Congress you have done. I said I can't participate in this Congress because it's a sham. Then he said, you're out. I couldn't even be allowed to be an ordinary member. And I went to court, but I didn't get it. I didn't get much support because already we were in court over the same issues. where I was throwing me out. So he made resolutions. So everything that he has done now with this judgment is null and void. So there has been a vacuum for almost 2 years. You cannot continue to say, I want to lead we have been granted authority to start the structures. So he cannot lead to form those structures. Someone has to do it. So we are saying we need a caretaker, council of some sort. Because even if you talk of a council, which council do you take when there are no more structures? This guy destroyed everything. We need everyone who has been in there. Whether I went to another party before or anyone who wants to be part of this, including him. But he cannot be at the top because he will abuse the constitution. He has already abused it.
Speaking of court judgments, Engineer Mwonzora, your party has for years been accusing the courts of being captured and of being not very transparent when it comes to political issues. But the very same courts you have accused all these years of being captured or unfavorable towards you, you run to them again. How do you reconcile that position, and you always constantly going back to courts, and you also want to enforce those court orders once they come out, but the same courts that you always accuse of being biased?
You have not heard me accuse anyone.
As a party,
no, there's no. A party is an entity with human beings, so each human being might have their own opinion. I've never accused anyone of being biased, including my own colleagues. If they feel that they don't feel there is justice, they have their democratic right to say it. But personally, yes, these things can happen. But at the end of the day, you live in the culture that is there. So when you want to be arbitrated, what do? Do you go to another country? You go to the same court. I want to give you an example which is outside the court. You have lost your money so many times. Are you not using the zig? So you are using it because you live in the currency. So we live in this atmosphere where everything ends up in the three legs of parliament, right, which is legal. Either it goes to parliament, from parliament to the people, from the people. If you want any judgment, you go to the court. You cannot put it on yourself. You cannot do it on your own. And such judgments, you can only get them from the highest courts.
Right. And speaking of court once more and constitutionalism, right? You were appointed VP by the late Dr. Shangirai for the party, which the court then determined that was unconstitutional. So you were a beneficiary of an unconstitutional appointment, but now you have taken your colleagues again on unconstitutionalism, again trying to reconcile that position.
Yes, to be honest with you, that judgment was not wrong because it is what was presented in the court. Because Douglas Mwonzora didn't want our appointment. But to be honest with you, in 2014, the Congress agreed that there would be an appointment of one deputy,
right,
to Changra, an extra one,
right,
so that they mirror the government.
Right.
Those minutes were not written because that's the first time Douglas became SG. But this resolution, maybe he didn't like it, but it was not written. So it is now activity. Every MDC member knows, and even council set and approved that Morgan should appoint a deputy. And the day he appointed me, he even called me and said, what do I do? If I have two deputies, I might have a challenge. But it later on transpired that there were other pressures that made him appoint two deputies. But he was supposed to appoint one. It was not totally unconstitutional. These people must talk and be honest about. Yes, the same Rangre was not democratic. He was. He actually called me. I didn't even expect to be appointed. I was out doing other things in the morning. When he called me, I was appointed wearing my clothes. I didn't bath that day. I went to his house. Then he told me that what would happen if I have three deputies. I said, you should consult. Then maybe go back to council. Since you are not well, you might need that help. So if you need help, but you must find a way so that there is no division. People must try to come together. Then he said, okay, you wait for me. Because in social democratic parties, there are 3 vice presidents, so that 2 don't pair up. If they fight, the 3rd one might help to solve things. So that's what he told me. Then I said, but still, you consult. I didn't know he was going to appoint the same day. And he didn't tell me that he was going to. When he went, he said, no, I'll wait for my press conference. Then he appointed me. I didn't lobby, I never went there. And he said, then I asked him why he appointed me after the event. I said, thank you for this appointment, but why me? Then he gave his reasons. Then I said, thank you very much, because of my history. And he says, he thinks that I can work with you. I can tolerate a lot of things in my own way.
Right.
I did my work as mayor, and he said, you did your work as organizing secretary, and everywhere you were doing well. And of late, I see you are also, you can unite, you can try to work to unite the people. You are a senior person and advise these people. I didn't contest for any post at Congress that time, because people were just jostling for positions. They fight for these positions like they have no other job.
Speaking of fighting, after your appointment as VP, you and Advocate Nelson Chamisa seemed to always be at loggerheads. You were both appointed outside of Congress, and so basically you were at the same level. But it seemed you had a power struggle.
No. I was not appointed at the same level. That must be corrected. I wish Tsvangirai was alive to answer that. We were appointed as vices, but he left me acting president. That's the difference. Yeah, we were appointed at the same level, but I was senior, in that I was older. Chamisa was to deal with the youths.
That was the arrangement?
That was the arrangement.
Okay.
And we would have meetings and Kupi was to do all the administration. I would deal with the party's business. And when he went to hospital for the last time, this is the only time he asked someone to act. He had never asked anyone to act, to be honest with you.
So he made you acting president, and then before he passed away.
That's the only time when he went to South Africa. Before he came back as a dead body. He told me that I'm leaving you to run the party.
Right. But then before
and I'm appointing you the acting president. He actually told everyone, these guys might refuse it, but I was appointed. That's why I was in Harvest House. Then Chamisa, after a few days, came up and said, I didn't know how it was done. I was not told. He says, I've been asked to lead the group of Alliance people. And the Alliance was, if you go to our constitution, if you go to our agreement, Alliance was not MDC. It was our partners in an election.
But basically it was made up of people who came from the MDC initially. You had Tendai BT of PDP, Professor Ncube of MDC or MDCM as it were, and then a few other smaller parties.
Yes.
So essentially the core of the alliance was people who came from the same parties, and so Tsvangirai wanted to reunite the MDC to be a bigger force as we went towards the 2080 elections.
It was everyone's initiative that let's unite, including ZANU people. There was this from Mudzuri. Mudzuri didn't come, but it was another team from Mudzuri that joined. Agrippa and another. They were about.
And Transform Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. There were a number of these outside parties.
Yes.
They became about 5 or 6. So I'm just saying it was for everyone, but the pact was for an election. It was an election pact. If you go to this is why people never understood why the courts allowed MDC to continue with the seats, because that addendum was never availed. It was now availed to Parliament to say this is the constitution, this is the addendum. Each party was standing on its own. It was supposed to be given seats, or if it didn't go into government, the thing would fall away.
Right.
I had the documents myself.
But the idea behind that was for a united front.
Yes.
To confront the ruling party.
Yes, and win. If we win, there were certain positions to be given to each of those parties.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But
even ministerial, it was in the addendum.
So going forward, looking at this court victory you've just had, what is the way forward for you as the MDC?
To admit what is real and be honest. Is there still MDC? It's not there. We have to restore it. That's why you saw me with a banner written restoring MDC.
Right.
If you go from 20, the only proper Congress that was held was in 2014. This now 10 plus years.
11 years.
11 years. There you cannot see any structure working there. Some are dead, some never came back, some got angry, some joined ZANU, some did all. So we are saying, look, let's go to our founding values. Let's ask everyone who feels that this party was so vibrant, let's revive it. Let's come together. Let's talk to each other, especially at lower level. If you live in Zimbabwe and you believe that MDC was a good party, it was a good opposition party, and it had a nice management, form a structure there. If you live in Chirezi, form a structure there. You can find other people who are in MDC and say, let's revive our party. It doesn't need someone at the top. Just like you do churches, you have your pastors everywhere. These people must be there for you to see that there is MDC. Then you see that every week there's MDC ward meeting. That is what we normally do. Every month there is at least one district meeting, and every other quarter or before or earlier there is a provincial meeting. And provincial meetings come and do meetings. I mean, leaders, they come and do meetings with the national leadership. Then they go and cascade the meetings down to the people. Now, if you don't form those things, how do you win an election? Even any governance structure needs to be structured.
Right.
You know that even with the central government which gets elected, they still have chiefs. That is a managing tool of the people, of communities.
Right.
You cannot manage them without those things.
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, every ward which is bounded by the election becomes our ward. Every district becomes our constituency. And the province is defined by the constitution. There are 10 provinces.
Right.
We'll put a few extra, but then we'll bring them back as demarcated by the constitution. We used to have 12, and we had said let's turn them back to 10. So we have a challenge. Yes, winning the court case. That it's just that I feel personally that President Tsvangirai said try buttons now before he died. I still feel that I have a duty to do. Even I don't need to be the only one at the top. I need certain people who have the same thinking to build this thing. And we had agreed that this thing must last 1,000 years, not that when he dies it's gone. So 1,000 years comes from people who have a sense of belonging to their home. And this is where I'm appealing to those who have gone away, who want to come back. Let them come back and form and rebuild MDC.
But looking at, like you're putting it, that it's virtually non-existent.
Because of Mwonzora. Mwonzora destroyed it.
So what are the chances, do you think, of ever reclaiming the spot that you had, or a significant portion of that spot, looking at the current realities?
It depends on the thinking of Zimbabweans. Mm-hmm. It's not... I am trying my best. Let's do the best. But if you want to rebuild a home and people don't come with enough bricks, will you finish it? But I'm saying it's now a chance. I've been given a chance to just coordinate people, be a mayor, so that something, maybe you have some certain exposure. Maybe you've also paid rent somewhere and rents.
Right.
So 21 you might be coming from university, or you might just have not done much. So you need also to understand that a person who runs a city must understand the budget, must understand the infrastructure, must understand the duty to the people. Unless you are trained from your childhood, then you also need good donors around you to help you if you are too young. So is this happening? We are not. So governance becomes a challenge. And that's why we always get nothing from this governance. People are busy getting themselves whatever they want to get themselves.
Yes, I was actually about to infer into that position of the opposition being able to bring service. You are very, I'll say this publicly, you are very celebrated as being, in our generation, possibly the best mayor we have known. Because before that, probably I was too young to have known. But when I came of age, that's when you became the mayor. And generally, people feel that at the point you were mayor, Harare changed. There was a lot of service delivery that was delivered by the opposition. But from that moment that you were fired by Dr. Chombo, it has never been the same. The opposition councils that have come have not been able to deliver the service. And of course, the executive mayor of Harare has been removed. Maybe it also has effects on that. But basically, even the most basic of services that they are allowed to provide are simply not being provided. Why is the opposition failing? Ever since your time, you are probably the only mayor who is known to have really given service. What's the difference between you and the rest that have come after you?
When I was mayor, I think I took it upon myself that I must deliver to the people who have elected me. I was young, 45. I felt I had a duty to these people. And honestly, there were no people agreed to pay rates because they had not been paying rates. There was the communities were organized. They helped me to become a good mayor, I must admit. And I really wanted to deliver. And also I'm an engineer by profession. I think systematically. I want the systems to work. I don't think about just doing things. So sometimes you think I'm slow, I must be jumping. No, I might be a bit slow, but when I see something that I think should work and it is going to work, I will do it. I become maybe stubborn a little bit to say we must achieve it because I know that is the right way. And you know that when we are dealing with any system, it must be methodical. It must work like that. Now, today, I know I have had meetings with some of the councillors, not these ones who have just come, the ones before. I used to come, I was in charge of them during Chamisa's presidents of the party. They would come in this gazebo, I talk to them. Some of them will tell you, it's our time to get something. So, point blank. You are okay, we need, so maybe, that's why I say also age matters. And also looking for people who have something to show that they don't need to live on that ticket of because you are a city father. Yes, you are a city father when you are young like him, but your responsibility is beyond age. Your responsibility is more about delivery to everyone. Now when they take 5, 10 stands, they sell them, they do this. Is that good? It's not. But we see it and say, don't you catch? And then there's this statement, Buzi, it's, yes, there are certain, there are certain, I would say, benefits. Being a councillor, when I was mayor, we negotiated. You get at least one domestic house stand in the area where you are, and you get one commercial stand, which is at a reduced price. We knew people were coming poor, so let them get some. You can't be a city father and not have somewhere to stay. I think it's reasonable. I don't think you would complain because they get allowances, they don't get much. But don't be a thief when you are there. Do something that when you ask, you say, it's transparent. It doesn't mean you don't participate in the economic ventures in the country, but you do them, but don't become so selfish that you want to take everything. And this is maybe what kills a lot of things. And also our officials, you need to make them realize that they must not be too corrupt. They mustn't be corrupt. They must be given benefits, incentives and benefits, but not to make them live on corruption. So our officers also corrupt politicians. So when you don't know, you think you are being led, you might be misled to sign something that you don't even know. The first official at town hall who will know the rules and obligations. And there are very few politicians who read most of those things. Yes, they will pass certain things, but I know some of them don't read. They don't read the minutes. They come to sit and they will come to vote. If there is no drink after that, like we're talking, they will not come. They will complain. After a meeting, they want something. I don't know. Maybe it's also part of the nature of the people we are appointing. That's why I also say community has to appoint people who are reasonable, who are also understand the need to improve and to be proud of your own city and to be proud of your own country. You cannot be proud when you are being bribed. Chinese are taking 10 billion and they are given 2 million. What do you do with 2 million? And when the whole country has lost 20 billion or 10 billion? Tell me. Yes, you have got it, then what do you do? If there is any taxation system, it must be such that the company pays to the government.
Right. That makes sense. And then from you being mayor, you were appointed the Minister of Energy during the GNU. Mm-hmm. How do you rate your performance, judging by your very high profile from being a mayor who performed exceedingly well, and then your performance in the GNU? Also noting that eventually you were substituted by a different minister. What did that happen? You were replaced by Elton Mangoma. What was the reason for that replacement? And also, what were your achievements in terms of the energy ministry then?
I brought in the regulatory authority. Zera. I brought Zera. Right. I also had fuel. It was not there that time, and I remember changing to privatizing some of the fuel stations, allowing people to get private, because that time it was controlled by GNU. Right. And I really went and told Wamgabe Utaiwaka, I'm going to control our fuel. He is a big governor. Then he agreed that we take it away from him. And suddenly, and we allowed people, and we let them have their money. And there were announced Batters Group. Those were some of them. But I didn't stay long. I stayed for a year and some months. But what happened then, I was refusing certain things that I was being directed to do. For instance, these become officers. I refused, for instance, that I just accept the price for doing the hydropower station. Mm-hmm. The quoted amount was 300 million
US dollars.
But check how much it cost. You can never have that percentage. It went up to almost 450, 600, I don't know. So when you are being asked that how does something which costs $300 million today cost 450 or more? Tell me, within a year or two. And the dollar hasn't fluctuated much. If you tell me that. So sometimes you just keep quiet. But I was told that I should go back and run the party. I was still the organizing secretary of the party.
So you
but I tell you, because he had more information. Some people wanted us out, and even it was supposed to come out, but I don't know. I wouldn't go. I will always say the right to appoint is it was with the Prime Minister. Yeah. So if I'm taken out and put somewhere, it's okay. But then later, I'm sure they told me that, look, I think we had made an error. Even Chombo admitted that he had made an error. If you remember, maybe we were not yet into journalism. He said, no, I think he was our best mayor, but it was the politics that we did. So sometimes people play politics. That time people were accusing me of wanting to take over from Moket when I never did it. So it was other people who were playing games. And sometimes in politics, when you are not too much into clapping hands and begging, you might...
It becomes difficult to get around.
Yeah, but I am not a beggar. I will never beg. I will not do that. I respect people by their positions. But even if I'm not a minister, I can still work in a country. But if I'm a minister, I must perform. And I know I did good performance because I changed a lot of things. And I think everyone was happy during that. I did only 1 year, 4 months, like how I did my mayorship, 1 year, 4 months as well. And I said, it's okay, if I'm assigned somewhere, I will do that job. The most expensive breakfast. It's a
lot of money.
It's a lot of money, $2 million US. But you see, people are greedy. They are greedy. So you must get allowances that can keep you good, but that can also make you not to be corrupted. But work for the people, because you are all these people. Once you get into public service, they are paying you in any form. Everyone who lives in the country pays you in his own way. So you owe them a service. This is my stand. And you don't need to be forced. You have to have a conscience, and you have to live in your culture and understand that this culture doesn't allow me to do this.
Let's talk about one of the most talked about topics currently. There is the issue of the Agenda 2030, where ZANU-PF or sections of ZANU-PF want to amend the constitution to extend the terms of office of the president. What is your position on 2030? If
I were the president, I wouldn't want to extend the term of office for reasons that we should have another person, whether from your party. That thinking of extending is like everyone else doesn't think you are the only one who thinks. If you are given your term, do what you can in your term. You can be in the advisory seat, people in your party, like Mandela did, like other people are doing. You can be in the advisory seat. But also, I answered somebody yesterday. That constitution has a clause in the addendum that says you cannot change the constitution and benefit. So how are we going to change it if you are a constitutionalist? Then the third point is, the president himself said, I will persuade them not to persuade me. And we are still talking about it. What we should now talk to is say, he said that, so we don't want, it's not going to happen. Because we are encouraging those people by saying, people are still doing this. Their agenda should be stopped. Because he has said no. And he should refuse. No one can force him to say, go on, because we've made a decision. That's why you're allowed to resign. When people say, you can continue. Say, no, I can't. Allow the process to take its course. This is wasting our time. People are not preparing for elections, thinking that this will happen. It could be a red herring. So I'm just saying, I'm not even talking about, I'm not interested in talking about it, because I've listened, I've looked at the constitution, I've said, but even if they want to get to that, the benefactor should be the next president. You can't just say.
That's when the referendum comes in, that we can actually go to a referendum and decide whether we do away with that clause.
Yeah, but still that clause was meant to say, even when you want to change, once you go to a referendum, that the incumbent cannot benefit, because it's like, I don't prepare I foresee someone doing it. This is the purpose of that clause. Could you don't benefit yourself? Sorry, don't mind.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, you don't benefit well, because do you all go to the time like that? What benefit? Say, Chiti. Maybe 2 years is, 10 years is not enough. The next president could have a project that is 6 years.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Yeah. Because you cannot be, it means you are not doing your work. You must do your work. What are the Form 6 for how many years? If you are doing A level, you need 2 years. Can I 2 years? What for year? Start again. You don't need extra time. Extra time to Akazokoro.
True.
Yeah.
And as a disclaimer, we want to declare that the president himself has said he is not interested, but we are just referencing it because there are people within his party who are pushing the agenda. So we are not targeting the president, we are simply speaking on it with regards to people who are around the president.
Yeah, but we are over discussing this rumor. Let's waste our energy elsewhere.
Right.
Let's say he has said it, so why are we worried about it? When someone talks to us, we don't want to hear about it.
Maybe it's because there is a motion that is supposed to be put in Parliament that actually wants to amend. So that's why maybe
there's no room for Parliament. There is need for a referendum. The Constitution says for you to change, you need a referendum. So they can change and go to a referendum. I don't know. The referendum is you. And anyone who wants, if you want it, it's unfortunate, but I don't think it will happen. I don't think.
So you think it could be a waste of time and a red herring, as you put it?
To me, I don't think they are stupid, these guys. And people want to create that there is a gap. If there is a gap, I don't see it. These people work together. You see how much extra, how much die. I don't understand. If they are fighting, then they are pretending to fight before you. Because if I phone you and maybe you are angry for a day, you are allowed to turn your head away and say, even if you are my boss, I'm not coming to your meeting. But it's more of a minor, daily. So what are we talking? I'm not, maybe I'm naive, but I'm saying these guys are taking your energy away. They are simply discussing a topic that is purely a party issue. And the population, if they don't want, they must gear themselves to say no.
Simple.
And they must be allowed to discuss, to say, it's Atini. I wouldn't promote that. And I don't want. But let's concentrate on the economy. The economy. Well, there's still a few months so that the next person, I know 2028 will win by showing action. I can go to the supermarket and get this. We don't want to see okay running down.
True.
You can't say to them okay running down. And who I don't know. Even it's in one same party. They're in their own party. Form yours and counter that.
Right, topic about forming parties, Engineer Mudzuri. There has been many parties that have been formed out of the original MDC that you were a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep being formed or they split and new formations come up. Right now we see you've been fighting for the MDC, resulting in this court judgment that you won. Why is there so much fighting within the opposition, and is there ever any prospect of a properly united, like in the mode that Shanghai wanted for the MDC Alliance, where all of you players will come together and work? Because we were colleagues basically with almost everyone who's in opposition now. So what are the prospects of an opposition united and looking also at the fights that you are having, both you and Mwonzora and the rest of the Triple C and other formations that came from your party?
It's unfortunate that it becomes a fight. I don't want to call it a fight. I want to call it a reorganizational thinking.
Right.
Or, when you differ, if someone would listen, it's good. But when people always differ in one environment. But some of these guys don't listen. They always think of a way of going around the thing. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to talk about it, but I wanted to say, I'm sorry to say, there's a weird thinking I'm not sure of our university whether it's training certain professionals properly, because they always want to twist things. I will mention it. Our lawyers must start behaving like genuine ethical lawyers. It's not about money always. It's not about you getting money. Our lawyers must think around that. In 2018, after that election, the whole country was waiting, watching on TV that case, Chamisa versus Mnangagwa. Chamisa is a lawyer, Mnangagwa is a lawyer, the judges are lawyers, the prosecutors are lawyers. So where do we come in? And we ask them to write our rules and trust them. I'm just asking you. They should have just agreed on one thing. Before they start saying, it was like, yes, you want to produce evidence. But do you have the evidence? When you don't have, you are trying to cook everything to make sure that you win. And I want also to say, yes, it's the right of a lawyer to represent a matter.
Right.
But he must have ethics. That if you are the wrong person and I killed you, would you want to represent me? Would your brother want to represent me? So there must be some reasonable ethics to say, you can organize, I will not do it.
You are wrong.
Because I'm not judging you, but can organize, maybe don't know what I'm confused. Maybe somebody might think around it, help you to danger. But I'm just saying, it shouldn't be easy. But I'm going back to the politics. I think our lawyers must also be good and even fight for this thinking where we all work to make sure that our country benefits.
But Engineer Mudzuri, let's go back once more to probably for the last time to reference the differences between you and Douglas Mwonzora. Before the CCC left, when it was the MDC Alliance, you were in the Mwonzora camp. You remained in the MDC when the MDC Alliance turned into the CCC. So the assumption publicly was that you were in the Mwonzora faction, as it would be, which then took control of the party and you became, or you remained as the Vice President. You had a Congress that you went to, was it in 2019 or 2020? It must be 2020. And then the second Congress that you fought. So it seems you were on the same page or on the same side. What brought about the fights? What really caused this tension and this, I don't know if I can say dislike?
No, I want the country to be clear, and I want the viewers to be clear. I was never in anyone's camp. I was in MDC. I have remained in MDC for a purpose. Even when Mwonzora said that fired, I said, I remain in MDC. It's you who goes away. Because we started this party. And I agreed with Watrangra. This party must not die. I've never been, I said I remained in the party. But the leadership that has been coming has been playing games. I could have been with any leader. But the leaders that has been coming has been playing games. It forgot about our ethics of practice within the party. Our culture was destroyed. It became a wrong culture. I tell you, the very day Tsvangirai died, everything changed, and I got so annoyed. I only became a shadow of what I was. Not because I wanted, but because I didn't want to give fights. And I was not ready for any fight. And I was thinking I'm burying a senior man. I couldn't bury Tsvangirai at his house, in his funeral. I was chased away by youths. They wakazono simba body. Ndakatanga vari wamba mambo ya Tsvangirai. Ndikabudiswa irina moyo akati this can't be a party. So that thuggish behavior cannot be seen in an opposition. And it was all being done by these youngsters. And when I tell them, no, it doesn't work. Murukita say, Why should you be beating Munu? Muchitaura kuti Zanu should not beat anyone. First, ndakazopinda pa podium paitaura mutambara when I was closed in a room. Nema youth MDC. Zvichinzi kana usikati zvanezo ndinokuvharira apa. Ndabuda imomo ndasvika papa ndambogara kumadiplomats ndazogara tazoenda kumberi padhuze na chief wemuyekera wemubhoera unonzani. He's late now. He was actually I had to apologize to him of what happened. Nakupe huko apa paina uyu Kenya. Then from there our cars were in a row. Mirama kanai. You are not going to the funeral. Amushando wikimun. Taka papa stage zingwa takade. Go forward. I'm the vice. Okay, even if not Kupe Chita take over, because we cannot continue, we cannot fight over this. The word Chitora. But there were fights. You don't fight over a senior person funeral in our culture, do you? But people were so vicious in the Gora Changraipa per memorial. It was, I'm telling you, I was harassed, like I couldn't understand. We can't run an organization like this. But then there were people who didn't even know us.
Just love Momo.
Love Momo. You can ask him. It's a shame. And when I talk about this, you cannot get blessed. You cannot think Maruno Komborera in our culture. Even what Zimbabwe say. You don't fight your parents. That means whatever is done, that was not the place to settle. Even if a meeting, was that necessary? I was not part of the I didn't to discuss, to run, and also to report it. It was a meeting after. And the purpose was to say ne temwe part. And I said, look, we don't need this fight. Any one of us can lead, and this is me. It was all about fights. Where is that coming from? I can't be that. You can't look. Yes, there are times when you can be very tough. You can go to war with your enemies, but you don't go to war with your colleagues. That's why I've been quiet. I didn't want to talk because I don't understand some of this behavior. Where is it coming from? This no, you can actually let's follow you. But you want people to beat. Is it necessary? Tell me.
But part of it probably was because I would say you did not want to do a handover takeover when you were acting president, and then Chamisa was appointed by Tangarai, according to Lutamborinyoka. You resisted to hand over to him the acting presidency. So maybe that's why there was.
But it was such a short time. I didn't even run for long. And I'm telling you this, it was just something that I feel ashamed of. And I say, this was not MDC culture. And today, this is where we are. I've never followed an individual. And that's why in my presentation yesterday, I said, let's not worry about leaders. Leaders can come and go. But let's do something at lower levels. It is only something from the lower levels that has roots. Without lower levels, you don't go anywhere. That's the critical path we need to follow now. If we want to have a formidable organization that is called an opposition party. Opposition party kuma-30s. Zvoita munhu wani hana kana paamboita meeting nevamwe unongodana vanhu vake 10 atonda president. Hazvozvo zvinobatsira. ende zvotosekesa kupedza bepa riya iri kuti unongotiwo ndiriko. Maybe that's why I thought bhadhara 20,000 because kana une following usina following unoiwanepi utobhadharirwa ameno nemabhururu ameno unenge waiwana. But it shouldn't be like that. If you think you want to contest, I'm not saying you shouldn't, but don't say you're a party. Say I'm an independent. Don't say it's a party, because a party has rules. It has got something they follow. So I will tell everyone here that I never followed anyone. If anything, I've negotiated with everyone to make sure that we do something together. But they don't want my honest behavior. Some of them are too dishonest. It's a shame. And people think they will do something. They are too dishonest. And I don't want to discuss individuals because it's not my business. But people must be able to see honest business and dishonest business.
So going forward with the resurrection of the MDC that you want to do, what are you going to do? What steps are you going to take as we almost close?
Yeah, right now he has appealed. I think what we should do, we continue to do structures. If people want, they will do them quietly, because we don't want to be in contempt of a court.
Right.
If he brings papers to us, we just allow people to say, go and do what you are doing, wherever you are. 3 months, I'm told now, it doesn't last more than 3 months. And 3 months is good for us. But what we want to do is to make sure that he doesn't, these 3 months are not meant to take everything from harvesters. I don't know whether we can, I'll ask the lawyers what we can do. Because he might want to have just another 3 months to steal and sell a number of things, because I'm told they've changed so many things. I hope he won't go to jail, because he has been playing around with too many things. I just pray. Maybe that's why he's panicking. So this time we are appealing to the courts to do this fast and make a determination, because they might give him time to sell some of the property for MDC. The man has wronged the party, and I can just say to anyone who has got pride, you took over a giant party with so many MPs, and you are not a single MP or a single councillor, and you want to remain there. What do you want to do? I'm asking you, the purpose of going of running a political party is to win elections somehow. What we have inherited has been taken everywhere. So I'm just saying, if I were him, I would just resign and negotiate so that people don't take me anyway. With members of the party. Members of the party, we talk to them to say, look, tineti nawe edu ambozora waparimwe basa tichita kuti party isumuke kana vachada party yacho, because we are not going to force anyone. Aenda kuzano afila arambiriko, aenda kune imwe party, aenda kuzi, but we want those who are still willing to rebuild the party, and those new people who want to be part of this entity, which people know as being a good party, which has made people enjoy some MDC things, kuti payanga yaka iri vibrant, in a good leadership, yakaita zvakati. And that's what we want to instill in our people. And I want to do that and what keeps me doing it is what Morgan said, even though when I'm if anything happens to me, lead them as an interim leader. That's what he didn't say I'm taking over. I got to extraordinary Congress. That's what he said. He never said that. He never said I don't lie. But he just asked me to. He said, you can help unite this people. So this is where my main push comes from. I can't use magic. I can't use anything. Chakanai, tite chuno, chakambotaura kuda tinobudirira. Maybe kudano na utaura kuna Mwari kuti tibatane tibone kuti can we not, maybe spiritually, maybe God unenga ona sokuti tiri kufunga taita chuno wanu tobudane chuno chedu.
And briefly before you close, engineer, there has been an accusation right now in the political space where some people feel the ruling class is monopolizing power towards a particular tribe where they say they are trying to create a Karanga dynasty. And there was also an accusation towards the late Changirai when he was still active that by appointing you and Chamisa, he was also trying to create a Karanga dynasty within the opposition. What's your take on that?
You know, that's why I say we want people to choose their leadership. Otherwise, we are inferring too much. Right. We are inferring too much. I really don't think Morgan was like that. Actually, to be honest with you, in what he told me was he trusted that since I did well as mayor, I did well as he thinks I can also help unite, because when we won in 2008, I was the organizing secretary. Said you tried to work to make sure people are working together. There was a lot of factions, but I never fought anyone. I didn't have a faction. Like Morgan didn't have a faction. He had only kitchen cabinet. So when you're like that, he trusted that I would do something. Then he said Nelson would do the boys, the young ones. That was all. So if it was, I don't know another talent that was there that he needed to put. But if there was another talent, he actually, I can tell you that we discussed every character with him. Then he made me, he convinced me that you do this. I have one weakness, I'm too honest. And you can easily pick up when I'm telling lies. I can't even do much lies. So it's a weakness, but it's a strength that you can trust what you are doing. It's a weakness maybe to some people, but look, in any developed country, you have to deliver the goods you have promised. It's only in Africa where I say, police needs a where Trump is being asked to deliver what he said. He says, I'm delivering. Someone, stammer, deliver what you promised. You deliver. And when you fail, you are pulled away by your party, not by anyone else. By the party. Yes. By the party. Johnson was removed from prime minister by his own party while he are running the whole government. Mugabe was removed by his own party with the help of the army, of course. But his party had failed. It was the army that helped to go away. But it's the party. So we must be able to remove our leaders and put them in. But in a proper, genuine manner, with a certain cultural way of behavior, not uncultured way of behavior.
Right. And in our closing, we always ask our guests to address particularly 3 constituencies. First off, address the people of Zimbabwe, whatever message you want to send to Zimbabweans. That's the first one. And then the second one would be address your colleagues in the opposition, whatever message you want to send to them. And then lastly, also you address the president as the head of state on basically your concerns, of course, within accepted parameters.
I'll start with the head of state. The head of state, Mnangagwa, must know that he shouldn't be seduced into extending his term. He must think around it and reason it and allow and even talk loud that this should not waste people's energy. He must prepare for succession in his own party or elsewhere. But the succession must know that we are all Zimbabweans. If anyone is taking over, he's taking over from whatever he has left. And if he is a good leader, he will be able to assist. He must die like Nyoma, who just died. I've never heard people complain about Nyoma in Namibia. And people will respect you for coming down when the curtains are still there. You close them yourself. Then, to my party, people think that it's about me. People think that it's about a leader. People think that leaders have money to run these things. They have no money. It's like we must have faith. Don't lose faith in opposition, in us as an opposition, and those in MDC in particular. Then those who have left MDC and those who have gone to other parties and those who have not joined MDC. This has been a party that has shown reasonable credibility as an opposition. The same spirit, the same principles, the same values will take us far if we embrace the MDC party. Don't worry about Douglas. Douglas is finished. He will never gather a new crowd because of what he has done. People don't trust him, and I think everyone knows that they don't trust him. And I don't hate him. I really want him to realize that it's his time up. And I've told him before that, why don't you allow someone to take over? When he was cheating in the last Congress, that's when he started to behave wayward. But I was just telling him that I think with these results that we have done, it was before elections, you cannot continue to run the party because we have no more structure. So I appeal to our members to say, let's not fight. Let's come together, but don't be greedy. And also, we also need to deliver, if we take power, the political, social, and economic goods with the mightiness that the population expects. Don't just say we are there, we have taken over. Tinofanongota take over. When we take over, we must show a difference. We must be able to deliver and prove that an opposition is good for the people. And then ZANU becomes an opposition. In 2028 is our chance. And fellow Zimbabweans, finally, we are too lackadaisical as Zimbabweans. We think politics is for other people. But politics is what you see every day. When you go to your shop, when you see okay running down, when you don't use your zig, it's not in your pocket, when you don't use your dollar, when you don't have the dollar, and you look for everything. And you want to go to South Africa or Namibia or Tanzania to buy and come back. Yes, you are trading, it's allowed. You are looking for cheaper things and find a way of life. But we even ignore our schools. People don't go to PTA meetings. They leave it to others and then they complain. If we call for you to say, let's have a meeting to discuss political challenges or service challenges, you don't come. Like here in suburbs, it's only gardeners who come. And they will become your councillors. It's not that they can't become councillors because they're gardeners, but when you are paying someone a salary and he becomes your councillor, I don't know. You must be able to advise them and meet them. Then generally, we think there is a section that is baptized to be politicians. There is nothing like that. Anyone in this Zimbabwe can do politics, but do the politics of helping your country to develop, helping your country. Choose your leader around you. Choose somebody you think can deliver the goods that you want. And the goods you get come from your taxes. The money you pay is what is used by government. So I appeal to Zimbabweans to realize that I'm not doing this for myself. And every other political person who gets into it, don't do it for yourself. Do it for the people of Zimbabwe. I want us to, it looks so theoretical, but it is what is necessary. Be ethical. Realize that your neighbor might be suffering because of your behavior. So, I'll conclude by saying, there is enough resources and wealth for everyone here in Zimbabwe to share and have daily bread better than what we are getting if it was not about political greed and individual greed. Because if you cannot extract it, it cannot come on its own. But leadership must come from our communities. And next time, elect a person from your community whom you understand. What has he done? What can he do? Can you talk to him? Can he deliver the message? Can he represent everyone? Then we are getting somewhere. And let's forget about handouts. If everyone says, I want a handout because I'm poor, I cannot do this. Yes, but let's reduce that. We should have safety nets which are done by government. Government must have safety nets to take care of the poor. It's unfortunate that people prefer to go in the streets, people prefer to beg, but it is not a good thing. Anyway, it's also because of our situation. You can't blame anyone. There are certain situations that make people do certain things, which I cannot judge anyone. But let's avoid that. Let's do a communal behavior. Even when you have a common tap, make sure you cover. If it was water, someone would, it won't work. If a certain neighbor has a challenge and it comes to you for help, if you can appeal. It helps people to do something. I'm not so good at it, but I'm so good at trying to think about governance, which also attaches us to our culture. Our culture tells us that we are all related. Mitupo yedu ukaifunza topezera tangohama tichingoroorana tichinzi hunopindana ukama tozonzoroorana nayo matongo toita zvinhu zvinoita kuti tive vanhu one. Let's remove hatred. And the opposition must know that when I mean the opposition is those in power, opposition to those who are in opposition. They must realize that we are all one person. We don't go to different shops. Yes, you do it, but do something that helps everyone in your country. We are all economically selfish, but let's realize that that selfishness has a limit. And let's organize this. My request for those who want to see a revived MDC, and let's revive it together. If you can't do it, don't expect me to finish it, because I'm saying it's already dead. So everyone needs to take a break and make sure that we build it up.
Thank you so much for your time and the insights you've shared. And thank you so much, Zimbabwe, for watching. Catch you on the next program. Cheers.